Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Butterfly. Welcome in for another informative week of Life and Bullshit podcast. I'm so excited today to be with my guest, my friend. This is Adisa. How are you doing, Adisa?
Great, Butterfly. You looking as beautiful as we always.
Thank you. So when I asked Adisa to come in, y'all know I do many things. And one of the things that I do is I also do social media and TikTok. And so I said, well, I do it. Let me cater to you Wednesdays, right? And that made it, let me cater to you Wednesdays. I cook and I have a mystery guest come in. Well, we're running late, so he's going to have to eat, afterwards. But right now, we're going to jump into it. And there's a lot of topics that Adisa brought up, right, to my attention. I think are very good topics because we talk about realness, rawness, and the necessary conversations here on the Life and Bullshit panel.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't sugarcoat shit.
Okay.
So we're going to jump right on in, Adisa. What in the city of Memphis right now currently is heavy on your mind?
Yeah, so it just depends on which one should take priority. We got the young kids, the violence. We got the school board that voted against the female superintendent. And you got why we have lost control of the kids, And then there's domestic violence as well because you kind of got people killing each other over breakups or whatever. And they got peace bonds, protection against them. But what I don't understand is why, if you know someone is out to get you, why you won't go get a gun to protect yourself? Why don't you allow people to walk up on you and kill you, knowing they're out to kill you?
So basically, we're gonna talk about relationships and the unhealthiness, right, of the relationships, right? I think that relationships start out unhealthy, right? I believe that we live in a culture where we come from a homestead where you're not taught value. You're not taught the full aspect of what love is. Do you think that the lack of protection, as you say, women not protecting themselves, do you feel that comes from the homestead that they came out of, going into the homestead with just their person or that individual?
That would be hard to say. I think it comes from people not believing what the person has shown them.
Okay.
For instance, you tell me, I'm going to do this to you. We're so used to people saying things, and we take it as, they just running their mouth, they just talking. He ain't going to do nothing. I hear a lot of people say, they ain't going to do nothing, they just talking. But those people don't be just talking.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of taking that person serious, especially when it comes to your life.
Okay, but do you think that stems from the house that they came from the parenting, from their upbringing is what I'm trying to say. Where do you think that stem from?
I think where it stems from from us not taking life. See, I don't think it has anything to do with the upbringing as far as you being able to protect yourself. Because, I grew up fighting. My parents always told me if somebody hit you, hit them back.
Okay.
So, but still you got people out there that will fight. I know a lady that was in a relationship, she'll fight, but for some reason or another, she allowed her significant other to kill her. She wasn't, he just walked up on her and shot her. But I don't think it has anything. I don't know what it is. We are not taking the threat serious. And when you don't take a threat serious, then you're not prepared for it.
Okay. The threat, when you say taking a threat seriously. If a woman is in a toxic relationship, domestic violence is present, right? And we grew up with somebody hit you, you hit them back.
Okay.
But is that normal? Is that the normal way that we want to go into a relationship?
Well, keep in mind, I don't think a relationship starts out that way.
Okay.
I'm pursuing you. So when I'm pursuing you, I'm sending my representative, my best behavior.
Okay.
So it's not starting out like that. Only after I done got comfortable with you will the true me show up. It can remain as it is that I'm a good person and then everything gonna be super duper. But most people, how you can bring that truth out of them is be yourself.
Okay.
Because a controlling person does not want to be challenged in a relationship. So before it get too far, if you being yourself and you challenge that person, say the person asks you to cook some spaghetti. You tell me, I don't feel like no spaghetti today. Okay, there you go. Then You gonna throw a party, you gonna start off something, mama. Bam. But those are the red flags.
Exactly, but that's a mentality that I'm thinking, this is my take, but that's why we're on the Life and Bullshit podcast, because you're giving your take. That's a mentality that you're used to. Like you say, you put a person that puts on their representative. And then you get to the point where the first incident, right? Me not wanting to cook spaghetti and you throwing a pot or throwing a temper tantrum, throwing a fit.
Mm-hmm.
What in you would think that I should stay through that, or what in you think that you should have behaved like that? Where did that stem from?
Well, that's okay. That's the sign. I think at some point you should have said to me, look, I don't want to be known. I don't want a man that's prone to violence. If anything, you have to be talked about up front. Okay, what kind of person you looking for? Okay, so now when a person shows this kind of aggressiveness, and it's not about you didn't cook the spaghetti, and that's what you got to make the differentiation from. It's about the fact that you didn't do what you was told to do. See, that's control. And that's what you want to avoid, somebody who is controlling. That sign now shows that this is not going to be what you think it's going to be.
Well, how do you know that before? Because like you said, the person is sending their representative, right? And so many times we've seen in cases in Memphis, as well as all over the world, but Memphis, we know about it because we hear it every day. We see it on the news. And so where do you have this conversation and the person be honest and truthful? That's just like, say you're a smoker, right? And I'm like, I am dead set against people who smoke. Right? I don't smoke, or maybe you say, I used to smoke maybe about 10, 15 years ago. I don't smoke anymore. And then something triggers you and you start smoking. That red flag was not present when I committed myself to you, to love you, to do those things. And because I'm challenging you, or because I asked you, are you back smoking? It smells like I smell smoke. And now you're angry. And now your anger becomes physical.
Well, that's where you begin to analyze and strategize, because now you understand that something ain't right. And I think where most people mess up at is, women's confuse the issue of speaking up with, they got to be loud. Like they had a situation where they had Henry Washington singing loud because they said men hate loud women. Men don't hate loud women. There ain't nothing wrong with you singing loud. What men hate is a woman who is confrontational, that act like she got balls and she's ready to fight the man. That's what men dislike. Speaking up for yourself is totally different. So now, if this person here has shown that, you need to start pulling back. And they feel like, okay, they got to tell a person, look, I don't want you no more. But if a person will threaten you and told you if he can't have you, nobody else can have you, you're not supposed to tell him that you don't want it. You need to wait, get on up out of there. Because this is where...
It's facts. It's facts. You're speaking facts. I think when we think about domestic violence and we think about protecting yourself and securing yourself, it don't always have to be that you have to pick up a firearm. A woman shouldn't have to feel compelled to pick up a firearm. But she should also know that there are ways that you back up out of a situation. Like they say, if you got your head in the lion's mouth, you can't snatch it out, right? Because when you snatch, then his aggression is going to come forward, right? You can lose your life. So before we lose our life, we have to ease our way out of things, right? I just think that the topic of domestic violence is something that we can talk about all day, every day, around every kind of corner, because everybody looks at domestic violence differently. And because the way you said, women should, why you don't protect yourself, why you don't get a firearm? I don't think we should have to have a firearm.
Why is that?
Because I just think that when you no longer fit for that situation, that I should be able to walk away with my dignity and my life.
Now listen to what you just said. You should be able to. And you are right. But that's not the reality of life. These people, have you not heard of men or women walk? Look at this woman that walked, flew all the way from New York to Florida to kill a man, her ex, killed his girlfriend. Just here in Memphis, a man walked up on a man and a woman shot both of them. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it ain't a question what you should be able to do, but that's not how it is when someone tell you they can't have you and nobody else gonna have you. So you got to be prepared. You got to have some type of strategy going on. So if this person confronts you, that you gonna live through it. You know, it ain't no, you know, you have to. I mean, you have to. I mean, there's no other way around it because of the protection order itself. It's not gonna stop somebody from doing something to you.
I believe that. I think it all goes back, though. It stems back to relationships and the fact that you have to get to know the person that you're with. And you have to, it's almost like a contract, right? Like, Adisa, this is what butterfly will tolerate. Boom, 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 boom. And then when I see that that's changing.
But butterfly,
okay.
Let me interject here.
All right, come on.
When I say representing, you got this all over the world. If I really want butterfly, and I see butterfly as a spiritual person or religious person go to church, now I may not have ever been to church a day in my life. But I'm going to do what's necessary to win butterfly over.
So you coming to church?
I'm coming to church. See what I'm saying? Now, the devil can present himself in any form that he wants, but he can't maintain that form. That's where the slip up coming. Once you see that, say I started out going to church with you, but now all of a sudden I done got in the door. Come on, go to church with me, son. I don't feel like going today. You gone, I'll catch up with you. See, that's where it's going to stop.
So that's the bullshit.
Yeah, but so you can't prepare for that. You can't, because people going to do what they got to do to get in good with you. So no matter how you started off, if I'm bullshitting, then I'm finna play the game. If I got to go to church or whatever I got to do to get next to you, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I just think that's probably why we have so much singleness nowadays, because if you have to go through, jump through all those hoops to figure out if the person is being authentic with you, then you automatically feel like maybe I should be by myself and we can have this. You stay your corner, I stay my corner, and when we get in the middle, we do.
Well, don't take that as everybody's like that. I'm just saying that those people who are prone to violence, they will show you who they are at some point in stage in the relationship. Now, what people do, they stay in those relationships, thinking that it's going to get better.
Yeah. Okay.
Here the person come with the flowers, the candy, babe, I'm sorry, the crying, and you give them that chance again. And the more entrenched they get, then the more you start losing your self-esteem and you start staying. You got to be ready to bail out at the first opportunity that you see that this person here is showing you something that, oh, wow, where that come from? So you got.
Okay, you used the good word. You said you got to be ready to bail out at the first sight or the first inkling of something unhealthy going on in a relationship, right? That's easier said than done.
True, once you allow your feelings to get involved. But that's what I'm saying. You have to keep all that in check until this person show themselves. Now, the person may never show. He may be a good person.
Okay.
And how you get a person to show themselves is you got to be honest and upfront at every turn. When there's something that you see that you don't like, for instance, I ask you not to smoke in my car. You get in my car and you smoke. Okay. Now, I suppose, hold on, baby. Well, I'm going to hold the cigarette out the window. Now, the control person might snatch this cigarette out your hand. It may put you out the car, because you know. But a good person, I would come around, open the door, butterfly, please step out the car and smoke. See, you got to watch your actions as well.
Right.
And you got to be able to tie that in with how I'm responding. People going to have conflict, but it ain't the problem. Conflict is not the issue. It's how you resolve it, how you handle it. So if you see a person getting all belligerent and out of shape over something small, that's a sign.
That's a sign, yeah. It's still easier said than done. Because like you said, for women, we get out, once we get into the life of it and into the love of it, it's hard, to see your person not be the person that you met.
From my understanding, it's been a while since I've dated, but from my understanding, after 6 months or so, maybe less or longer, you begin to see things. That's if, not because everybody ain't with the mess. All men don't do it.
Right.
But for those who are having that kind of problem, you need to be ready to pull back and need to hold back until you see the real deal.
Until you see the real deal. So that's basically what we have to be on guard, is what you say. Be on guard.
Once you see something that is not right, now, everybody ain't gonna be there. How long you and I been knowing each other?
Oh, me and Adisa been knowing each other for a while, y'all, and I don't know his past, but I think you had a little violence in you. Is you a physical man? I mean, this Life and Bullshit podcast. Now, don't look at me, look at the screen.
Okay, man, Hey, now you done made me mad enough where I wanted to put you out of my car. I handled that, like I said, we've been knowing each other over what? I say about 20 years almost, close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and like I said, I'm always about communication.
Mm-hmm.
I always have been. So therefore, I'm going to handle it different from where a person who is controlling. See, a person who's controlling, you done told me a lot of times what you ain't going to do ain't nothing. Okay.
Right, we wasn't in a relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, but this is the thing. Because I feel like I know you. Like you said, many times you wanted to put me out the car, but many times I'm a New Orleans girl. Remember that time? We was on Jackson Avenue and I wanted to get out the car. You're like, why don't you get out the car? I said, I will walk. Because I learned how to walk when I was 10 months old. You was like, please don't get out the car. You were literally begging me not to get out the car.
Because I would have felt guilty if something had happened to you. But the thing that brought that about was your mouth. You ain't like my response. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all women know y'all are in these toxic relationships. Come learn how to be quiet.
Okay.
And get on out the way.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to stand there, I'm going to leave you. You ain't got to do all that. Be plotting that in your mind. You ain't got to tell a person you finna leave. Mm-hmm. Go on, get out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And even though we laughing, having a good time, y'all, domestic violence is definitely a heavy subject. It's one that needs to be talked about more. And I think also, because this is young people, right? This is starting so much earlier.
Well, that part of it.
Yeah. It's starting so much earlier because I guess children are dating so much earlier or trying to code or trying to be, I don't know, in my day they would call it trying to be grown or trying to be fast, right? But so many parents are embracing it because they don't want their children sneaking. But there are so many stories, and I know 2 of them that happened in January where these girls were in school, high school, and they were dating maybe guys that were maybe 2 years older than them, and literally at the bus stop came and unalived her while she was waiting for the bus to go to school. 2 weeks later, the same thing. She's like 16, he's maybe 17, and he's been beating her since, for 2 years, he's been fighting her. Things like that. Like I said, we talked about it, and I know you said that it's not necessarily people put on a mask and a facade and they send a representative. But when we think about how this goes all the way back to our young children and our babies, I still feel like that is a topic in itself, that there's something that was visualized in a homestead that was okay for them to think that it's okay to be abused.
Well, and you may be right, but when you take it on and put it on that level, that note, then you got to keep in mind that when you're talking about young men, young boys, they are seeing the women in the home. I've seen, women get mad. They want to throw things. They want to tear up things. And so they are seeing this here. And that's how some young men react. They react emotionally because this is what they have witnessed. And then sometimes when people are spoiled in terms of used to having their way, when you're spoiled, you feel like you are entitled to whatever you want. And when you can't do what you want, then you know how you're going to react. So that's called entitlement.
Right. That's me, y'all. I'm an only child. I'm spoiled. And so soon as somebody tell me I can't, no.
Right.
I'm out the door because I'm not used to the NO.
But it's how you go out the door. Now, if you go out the door slamming the door, then, and this is what the kid that grows up seeing, then guess what? They're going to grow up slamming, and they're going to grow up wanting to body slam somebody or hurt someone because they can't have their way. And that's why things have gotten out of hand in the home. We need to make these politicians give the parents back control. If they have an unruly child, they need a safe haven where they can take that kid. If that kid is not going to school and is not listening to that parent, then that parent shouldn't have to be afraid to do something. They need some place where they can take them before they get in trouble and dump them off, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, dump them off. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to take you to the dump. There you go.
I'm talking like they hang out for the babies. Instead of you hurting that baby, killing that baby, they got a safe haven.
Right.
So if you got a kid that don't want to be in the house, because most of these kids, when you find all this stuff happening, it's late at night when they should have been at home. So evidently they ain't listening to the parent. Now, once the parent find out that this kid is not listening, you both have somewhere to take them if they don't want you whooping them, discipline or corporal punishment.
That is definitely a great topic for another podcast, parenting. That would definitely fall under parenting, the do's, the don'ts, what's okay, what's lawful, what's legal. Just to kind of wrap up this episode of the Life and Bullshit podcast, and the fact that some people have to arm themselves, like you said, right? Because you have to show a person better than you can tell. I grew up on that saying. Better show them better than you can tell them, because you tell them and they ignore you.
So, has this person ever jumped on you before? That's what you look at. Have they ever got physical with you before? And you trying to lead a relationship now. They threatening you, telling you, if I can't have you, nobody else can have you. See, that's where you take your information. You got to become the computer, the A1. This been fed into you, so now you put all this together, decide on what is your next move.
To finish this off, I want to be able to say this. Hitting someone is never okay. Right. And if you are experiencing anything like that, y'all, make sure that you reach out. Make sure that if you see the warnings, you see the red flags, that you exit stage left. It's okay to leave.
Don't broadcast you going to leave.
Yeah.
Just quietly leave. Don't get in somebody's face and get angry. I'm gonna leave you. That's when they, just quietly exit. And they know they're knocking at the door, you gone.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna give this example, y'all, and then we're gonna get off this. So one time, I guess, because I'm entitled, like you said, I was married. Me and my husband, we weren't even married yet, I guess. But the honest to God truth is, he did something I didn't like, and I got physical, and then I had to wind up going to court. We went to court, and then I had to wind up going to abuse, right? It was an abuse program that they sent me to. He's like, why I gotta go to domestic violence when she the one that was violent? So I'm in there, right? And I'm looking at all these women, and I'm like, oh my God, they are really being abused. They were sending me there as an abusee. The man had never abused me. I was the one that abused. I was the one that was abusive, unfortunately, right? But the women were doing exactly what you said, Adisa. There was one lady in there, she said that she literally took one spoon, one fork, one shoe, one shirt. When she knew she wanted to go, she had an exit plan and a strategy. So if you're experiencing any form of domestic abuse, make sure that you take care of you first, right? And all of those little bitty, I love yous, it won't happen again, I'm sorry, those things are not real. A lot of times we get in situations and we find ourselves feeling like we all alone. We find ourselves feeling like we can't talk to anyone or tell anyone what we're going through. First-hand experience from having been in sessions with women who made an escape plan was that they took one, because they say the men that they were with would not notice that one thing at a time was gone. But they took enough just to get started. They wasn't trying to take a whole house full of anything. And I know because I've heard women that did it. And these were educated women. So it wasn't like people also try to link domestic violence to socioeconomic status. That's a whole nother podcast, because guess what? No matter whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, domestic violence can and will affect anybody. You just got to be on the lookout for it, right?
You got to know it when you see it. You can't believe that a person is just being, just in a fit of moment. If a person is threatening you, I would take it serious. From that point on, you have to be on your P's and Q's.
All the time. Y'all, thank y'all for tuning into the Life and Bullshit podcast this week. This is my guest, Adisa, and he is also my friend, been my friend, like he said, for almost 20 years. So I thank y'all for chiming in, and I'll see y'all next week on the Life and Bullshit podcast. And don't forget, Life and Bullshit basically means you take what you need, bullshit, you leave the rest on the floor. Thank you, Adisa, for coming.